Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back with another video. For this weekend, well, including Friday, as it was the last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off the month, believe it or not, it's already May nearly. I thought I would cover like a list of things that I wanted to cover cover and go through in like football Fridays, soccer Saturdays, and soccer Sundays. So yeah, I wanted to do like my usual 4 part videos on each of those, but I suppose it was a rather foolish goal because it's there's not enough hours in the day probably, but I'll do my best to get through as many as I can, but I'll probably have to make up for lost time next week. But anyway, I hope you enjoy these videos, and as ever, I'll try not to waffle too much, and I'd love to read your comments. For instance, I asked the Q&A, what do you think about football? Anyone watching these videos? And yeah, probably what your favourite sport is. That'd be interesting to know. And also, do you think football fans, should have more of a say in how the game, the beautiful game, as we call it, many of us call it, is run? Anyway, I'll say this is part 2, of course, of some of my plans to cover football on Fridays. So here goes. So number 11. I would love to know from football fans like what you would change about football, what you think could be improved. Like some football fans think FIFA has like ruined a lot of things in the game. Like a lot of rules have been made, like the offside rule has been changed, and a lot of rules. I mean, perhaps it just takes a while to get used to. But some people say even V.A.R, which was supposed to come in to improve the game, to improve decisions like that, slowed down the game. People can't celebrate a goal in case it gets chalked off and stuff like that. So I'd love to hear from read comments from football fans, like, or even if you want to make response videos talking about your own views about what you think should change about football. And maybe, like, say, for instance, FIFA, if they are going to make any changes, should ask the fans first what we think about those changes. Or, as I said before, like, have opinion polls from the fans. I think that'd be quite an interesting idea, even if I do say it myself. But I know a lot of fans, I think I did raise that point, but a lot of fans say that they don't believe that FIFA will listen anyway. But it would be interesting to put forward that idea and put pressure on them, because obviously without the fans, they wouldn't have the game to run. The fans make the game what it is. As a former Celtic manager said, football without fans is nothing. But yeah, so I mean, I suppose I do enjoy playing football in the park though as well, or stuff like that. Although I'm getting a bit older now, I'm not as fit as I used to be, of course, but for sure. But yeah, I do enjoy playing football as well. But yeah, in terms of as a spectator sport, obviously you need spectators. So the fact that billions of people love football around the world, I think, is great. I wonder what number of people, football fans. But yeah, like I was thinking for the offside rule, for instance, it should be the whole player should be past the last defender, because I don't know. Again, I know I mentioned that point before, but because like when the ball goes out of play, sorry, or whether it's a goal or a goal kick or a throw in or whatever, corner kick or whatever, it's normally when the whole ball goes past the line. So I think that's what it should be in terms of defenders. And I wonder how they could improve VAR. But again, I think more football fans getting involved, talking about ideas to improve the game, be really cool. Number 12, as I often mentioned, as a fan of Italian football, I'd love to see, and maybe even Celtic as well, but although Celtic doesn't have the budget of teams in bigger leagues, but Italian football generally, I'd love to see the best possible managers, coaches, players, and just general staff. Again, managers, coaches, players, and that sort of thing. Whatever makes a great team. I'd love to see an Italian team having like a dream team, like Real Madrid used to have, like a team like Roma perhaps, or Fiorentina or Sampdoria, or any Italian team really, Inter or AC or anyone else, having the best possible players. And I'd love to hear from individual fans like what your dreams are for your own club, even other teams like from England, Spain, Germany, Portugal, or wherever else, like where hopefully if these videos get enough reach, I'd love to hear what fans would like to see for their, like what your dreams are for your team, and how they perhaps differ and how they are perhaps similar for different fans as well of different teams. I'm sure some of them will at least be similar, and some might be different. But yeah, and possibly more realistic goals as well. Obviously, for lower league teams, it'll probably be more realistic, of course. But yeah, what players would your club? What players would you like your club to sign? I'd love to see like managers like Ancelotti back in Serie A, Pep Guardiola, and some of the best managers in the world. Possibly even Klopp, Tuchel, Thomas Tuchel, and managers like that, and as well as the best coaches, people like Zizou, Zidane, and whatnot. Deschamps, perhaps even, if he can do a good job. But yeah, probably whatever the best managers are. Well, definitely whatever the best managers are. and also, as I say, the best coaches and best players and that kind of thing in Serie A generally. Number 13, again, I'd love to hear what people think of some of the negative things about football, like hooliganism and that kind of thing. Number 14, also the positive things about football and how football can be used to solve problems, like how any ideas about how to tackle hooliganism or discrimination or things like that in football. If people share ideas, I think that would be interesting. So I'd love for people to comment on this video and other videos of mine about football or soccer or whatever, which I call it soccer. Ideas on how to improve the beautiful game and like tackle some of those issues, and how football can be used to tackle problems around the world as well. Like I said before, like tackling illnesses, diseases, global warming, fundraising for things and things like that. Solving problems with football, I'd say. Number 15, I'd also, as I say, I'd love to hear different football fans like goals, especially Italian fans and Celtic fans, but football fans generally around the world as well. Number 16, again, I'd love to see read other people's ideas and listen to other people's ideas about and suggestions and that sort of thing about what could be done to improve football generally. So as I say, giving fans more of a voice, for instance, or as I said before, and that kind of thing. Number 17, my biggest dreams in football would be for Italy to become the top footballing nation, both at club team and national level. Not sure. I suppose the national team level would be slightly more important, and secondly would be club team level. And third biggest dream I have, which is a close third. All of these dreams are quite close to each other. They're almost the same, really, in terms of level of importance for me, which would be Celtic to be known around the world as a top Scottish side. And because the Scottish domestic league is quite easier compared to other leagues, I suppose probably winning the most trophies around the world, really, because it wins so many domestic trophies, hopefully. I think we've already not almost caught up with Rangers, although some Celtic fans say that they died. But on unofficial, in terms of official records, we are almost level with them. So, it'd be cool to see us officially overtake them, known by FIFA, U.E.F.A, Scottish football itself, and all around the world as the top, for Celtic to be known as the top Scottish team, and possibly to win the most trophies, because obviously, I know it's not the hardest league, but I think it'd be quite interesting to see Celtic get billions of pounds as well, because the league we play in, that would help us to dominate even more. Be interesting to see a team in a relatively small league, as someone said, like a big fish in a very small pond, to see what they could achieve with billions of pounds of investment. I think the club manages finances very well. But I'd love to see, as I say, a continuation of that dominance, and maybe in the future even seeing some of the top players in playing at Celtic, like some of the world's best players, perhaps on one day. That would be pretty cool. And I'd love to see Celtic winning the Europa League, or the Conference League, Europa League, even the Champions League and the World Club Cup and things like that. Number 18. Again, I'd love to hear people's suggestions or read people's suggestions or both, and work with charities and NGOs and look at how football can be used to tackle poverty, illnesses, diseases, and things like that. Fundraise for things, basically, and just generally make the world a better place through football, like raising awareness of disabilities, and encouraging people to have more empathy for each other and things like that. I know I'm a bit corny, but number 19, I would love for football to fundraise for South Africa and countries like that, across Africa and Asia, fundraise to support startups in South Africa, for instance, as well as software developers, entrepreneurs, SMEs, and all that kind of thing. And for, I often say, like Italian football to improve relations with Africa or the black community through football, or even the international community. And I'd love for Serie A, as I'm a bit biased because I'm a Serie A fan or Italian football fan, Serie A and Celtic to fundraise for South Africa and other parts of Asia and Africa as well, other parts of Africa and Asia, sorry. And support their software developers, support them in STEM and startups and SMEs and all sorts of things like that to help their economy, sort of making up for the history of apartheid, perhaps in South Africa's case. And supporting their economy to grow as much as possible, and improving relations and changing perceptions and things like that through football. And number 20, again, expanding football around the world, like to keep it as the most popular sport which I hope it will always be. Anyway, as ever, I would love to read your comments. And again, if you make any reaction videos or any of your own videos, you want to post a link in the comments, please feel free to post whatever you want in the comments. And I am out. Peace and love.